I know there might not be but
Yeah, I know. They're wanting me to go, but
Good morning. Welcome and happy Beltane to all. Welcome to the Sunday morning worship service here at DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church in Naperville, Illinois. I am Mandy Huizenga, your candidate for settled minister, and I am excited to be with you all today. And we are so glad that you are here, whether present in the sanctuary or watching remotely. Welcome. It is good to be together. To keep us all as safe as possible, we ask you to remain masked. Those of us on the chancel will remove our masks, and we have taken COVID tests. They are negative. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold that there are many paths to truth and meaning, and we support one another on our spiritual and religious journeys. Whether you are a member or a friend of this congregation, or you are coming to us for the first time, we are glad that you are here with us this morning. Whoever you are, wherever you are on life's journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. I am Steve Cooper. I'm the Director of Religious Education at this church. I have one announcement for this morning. There is a special business meeting of the congregation to vote to call ministerial candidate Mandy Huizenga as our next settled minister, and it will be held right after this service at 11:30. You may join in person in the sanctuary or online via Zoom. I recommend if you're already here, don't go home, you're going to miss it. The link has been sent out in the order of service email as well as the weekly update. We do need a quorum of 40% of the members that are eligible to vote must be present either here in person or online. Check-in for in-person voting is in the walkway. If you have not picked up your ballot, be sure to go out right after the service to get your ballot. And remote attendees will join the meeting using Zoom and will check in for voting using the chat feature. And remote votes will be recorded by an electronic ballot that will be made available during the vote.
We light this chalice today as people dedicated to transformation. May it burn away our oppressions and preconceived notions we have been taught, and glow instead with the humility of learning. May it reunite our dreams for a better world and kindle our joy for simple living. May its warmth envelop our community and bring us home to love, to welcome. And in its light, may our community hold us through our challenges, our questions, and the blessing on this beautiful path of becoming.
Our opening words this morning are by the Reverend Emily Dettar-Burt. Beyond Our Boxes. When you feel constrained, when your mind makes hard limitations, like skin pushing up against a cramped space, rediscover the dirt under your fingernails. Trace the veins under your skin. Find the universe stuck in your throat. A cosmos stirs in your heart, connecting your trillions of cells to the infinite universe that cradles you. Life is so much more than the daily demands of our preconceived notions. You are so much more than all the stories you tell yourself. Breathe and remember the limitless possibilities held within your fingertips, the miracle of your molecules, growing into someone you may not know, who will be a wonder to behold.
It is time to gather. Today, I have a story about figuring out who you are. The story is A Color of His Own by Leo Leone. Parrots are green. Goldfish are red. Elephants are gray. Pigs are pink. All animals have a color of their own, except chameleons. They change color wherever they go. On lemons, they are yellow. In the heather, they are purple. And on a tiger, they are striped like a tiger. So one day, a chameleon who was sitting on a tiger's tail said to himself, "If I remain on a leaf, I shall be green forever, and so I too will have a color of my own." And with this thought, he cheerfully climbed onto the greenest leaf. But in autumn, the leaf turned yellow, and so did the chameleon. Later, the leaf turned red, and the chameleon turned red too. And then the winter winds blew the leaf from the branch, and with it, the chameleon. And the chameleon was black in the long winter night. But when spring came, he walked out into the green grass, and there he met another chameleon. And he told his sad story. "Won't we ever have a color of our own?" he asked. "I'm afraid not," said the other chameleon, who was older and wiser. "But," he added, "why don't we stay together, and we will change color wherever we go, but you and I will always be alike." And so they remained side by side. They were green together, and purple, and yellow, and red with white polka dots, and they lived happily ever after. Please stand and join us in singing our song of affirmation.
Rejoice in love we know and share, in love and beauty everywhere. Rejoice in truth that makes us free, and in the good that yet shall be.
Our responsive reading today is from a litany for becoming. To become is a lifelong process. Nothing is constant, not even the self. We must have the courage to listen to the truth of our own lives with welcome and curiosity. This is what ensures our becoming is an unfolding of our truest self. This lifelong labor cannot be carried out alone. It requires help from friends and lovers, family and creaturely companions who bear witness to what makes us come alive and say to us, "Listen, look, feel, pay attention to that."
This is loving and being loved.
Telling the stories, sharing in the memories, giving thanks to the relationships, understandings, and experiences past that have shaped us to this day.
This is loving and being loved.
Listening to the future, calling uniquely to each of us in the midst of all of life's noise, helping one another find our beauty, supporting each other in what is the world's what it is the world's ache is asking from us.
This is loving and being loved.
To say for the first time, This is who I am. This is the truth of my body. This is what I know about myself. And then to have it heard, have it received, have it affirmed, and then say it again and again as we change and as the world changes, and to have each proclamation greeted with an open-armed embrace.
This is loving and being loved.
There is no me without you. We shape one another. The sacred that birthed us weaves our lives together so that we can only find ourselves through shared becoming. For my journey and all its winding ways, for yours, for the beauty in becoming.
This is loving and being loved.
And now, please join us for hymn number 182, Oh, the Beauty in the Life. Oh, the beauty in a life that illumines honor anew, that models wise and gracious ways to every seeker, that every day shall serve in joy and do the right. Oh, praise the life whose beauty shows our justice true. Let not service of the good be confined to great saints alone, but every hour be part of all our daily living. Set out the hope of wisdom's grace beyond our ken. How wide the path, how close the goal which love has shown. Oh, the beauty of a life that illumines care, of the soul that knows a love that is for self as well as others, that every day embodies praise for every good. This is the faith to which we turn our God and all.
At this time in our service, we wish to honor the joys and sorrows of our community. We hold each other in our hearts and minds, whether you share your joy or sorrow at this time or it remains unspoken. Today, I have a joy, a blessed belting to all, and a joyous celebration of Ellie's 11th birthday, which most of you know means she's a wizard now. Got her Hogwarts letter this morning. Happy birthday, Ellie. We remember those who are facing losses of many kinds, and those who are also facing health challenges. There are many ongoing conflicts in the world: Ukraine and Russia, Ethiopia and Eritrea, the Rohingya in Myanmar, and the femicide in Mexico. We pray by focusing our thoughts and energy for safety and strength for all those who are affected. We pray for peace. Even when the cares of the world weigh on us, May we find joy in our connections to each other and in the pleasures that life holds. As we hold each other in our hearts and minds with all of the joys and sorrows here, let's take a moment to be silent and quiet together.
This meditation is adapted from Holy is This Place by Maureen Killoran. Blessed is this ground on which we stand. Holy are the places of memory, the places which have formed us, where we store the icons of success and shattered dreams, and gather threads and pieces of what we would become. Holy are the places of change and pain, the places of our struggle, where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on and grow. Holy are the places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and in awareness still, we change our lives. Holy are the places of becoming, the place of clear vision, where life and world are intertwined, and we can see forever in this moment and give thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Blessed is the ground on which we stand. Holy and whole making is this place.
You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be your mountain when you're feeling valley low. I can be a street light showing you the way. Oh, you can hold my hand when you need to let go. Let us take on the world while we're young.
As Mandy and I were working to put this service together, she mentioned that she had photos from her past that she wanted to use to illustrate different moments in her life. And I said, "Oh, I have some pictures too." We could both share. And I have the book from my mom that she used to save all my school records and pictures. And these pictures tell a story. So I remember the morning of my first grade school picture, and my mom was helping me get ready and combing my hair, and she asked if this time if I would smile. And I'm like, I'm a smiley kid. So I had no idea what she was talking about. So although looking back at my kindergarten picture, she had a point. So here's the lesson, especially to new parents of young children. Never, ever try to coach your kids how to pose on picture day. My mom would say, just think of something happy and smile. Okay, well, maybe you can let your teeth show a little bit. Not that much. Just be natural. And of course, when it came time for my picture to be taken, I tried everything she said. So besides my misguided smile in this picture, there was something else that I was not a fan of, but my mom would not let me change. Not my second grade picture, nor third grade, nor fourth grade, or fifth grade. I had bangs all those years. And let me say, it did not go unnoticed by my peers. Finally, in sixth grade, my mom relented, and I was able to part my hair on the side. So I had slanted bangs. However, there was apparently a family secret that I didn't know about, and that was that I have giant cowlicks in my bangs. And the more I let my hair grow, the more it would curl and stick out, but at least I didn't have bangs. In 11th grade, and I don't know why it took so long, but I finally found the middle of my head and parted my hair there, only to find out that the part had cowlicks on both sides. And if I would let my hair get a little bit too long, I would have, especially on humid days, bull horns. But at least I didn't have bangs. Maybe I should grow a beard. Mandy? Would you like to take it from here?
Sure. I love looking at baby and childhood pictures of people because you can see the elements that stayed the same, right? The tips of the nose or the eyes, right? It's kind of like a blossom on a spring flower. We see the possibility, the hope. So this first picture is me right around the age of 4 months with my mother, and you can see my wide eyes, which both of my children got, but you can also see little pieces of my mother in me, I think. The family certainly knew, even to this day, I have family members who see my mother in me. But the family standing joke is that I was bald, and I was. I was bald until I was about 2, and it came in bright white, which meant that it still looked like I was bald. I just had peach fuzz. So this is a picture of me at about the age of 3. You can see that white blonde hair. It took a while, but it did finally actually come in, thank goodness. At that point in my life, my mother was pretty sick, and so I had a lot of people looking over me, and so my hair looked pretty good most of the time, thanks to having aunts and grandparents around. And that t-shirt there, that is one of our favorite camping trips when I was a kid growing up. Lake Gogebic is on the western side of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and we would go up there and fish and camp from babyhood on up. So I think it was about when I was 8 or 9, the fabulous tracksuit, of course. And you can also see the hair, the fabulous large hair. My stepmother is in the tracksuit picture. At this point in my life, I had already had about 6 or 7 hair permanents, thanks to grandparents who insisted that my hair should be curly all the time. And I think that this unruly part of my hair, well, it kind of felt like it was a part of who I was. My life felt a little chaotic at this point. So my hair kind of reflects where I was. About a month before my wedding, however, I chopped it all off. And so this final picture is a picture with my partner and I about 2 years into our marriage, and yes, my hair was super short. This picture represents a lot of things, but it mostly represents new beginnings, trying new things, and the beginning of some massive healing that I went through. We all have moments in our lives that are good and hard and sad and joyful. We all have bad hair days, that's for sure. It's kind of like that blossom, right? Before it can actually be a flower, before we can see the blooms on the flowers, we first have to be a seed. And then we have to be a stem, and then we grow a few leaves. It takes a little while to get to those flowers. But once we do, boy, are we beautiful.
Our special collection this month is for 6,000 moms. 6,000 Moms is a gathering of women committed to creatively pursuing all avenues by which they can assist, comfort, and defend those seeking legal asylum in the United States, as well as those negatively affected by our current immigration system. Started 3 years ago by a mom in Wheaton, Illinois, her aim was to transform the lives of immigrant families seeking asylum from life-threatening danger in their home countries. And they're doing this in a holistic and comprehensive ways. The group has reunited families separated at the border. They have enfolded them into their families, in the communities, and into their daily lives, so that they are no longer other, but rather now us. 6,000 Moms tries to fulfill needs such as housing, food, clothing, medical, and legal fees. And they have thrown birthday parties, aided young people who are attempting to finish their education, helping immigrants find legal work and housing. And they helped arrange surgery for an 8-year-old boy. Each family is supported by a team who is responsible for identifying their needs and helping them move toward independence. And you can learn more about 6,000 Moms at 6000moms.org. If you're writing a check, please write 6,000 Moms in the memo, and the offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values.
So I don't often talk about what my hair was like as a child because I consider it to have been kind of a disaster. Now, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where big curly hair was a thing. And thanks to the grandmothers who gave me permanents every few months, my hair kind of fit in that category. But my hair was mostly unruly. My stepmother never really had time or patience to sit me down and do my hair, let alone teach me how to do my hair. So most mornings, I barely brushed my hair, leaving me with the look that you saw in the pictures. I was an awkward child, not only in my appearance, the tracksuit, but in my spirit as well. One of the biggest revelations I had a few years ago was realizing that I never really had a childhood. And if you met me at that moment of my life, you would probably put me in the category of old soul, a child forced to grow before I was ready, a child stuck between the impulses of childhood and the knowledge and experience that horrible, life-changing things can happen in an instant. The death of my mother when I was 5 years old in a difficult family situation meant that I never really processed a whole bunch of trauma. It also meant that I lived most of my life in a weird liminal space between life and death, and the life part was kind of harsh and pain-filled. That's not to say I was not loved. I was loved by my family in the best way they knew how. There is unhealed generational trauma in my family that is tied to immigration, poverty, and the harshness of this world. That generational trauma makes it difficult to pass on new ways and to process new trauma, like my mother's passing, and almost impossible to teach children and grandchildren new ways to experience hard things when they happen. There were some hard moments growing up. And yet I never stopped believing that one day another way might be possible. I had hope that maybe I might find a more beautiful path, a more beautiful part of myself. My mentor, Bill Elkins, a retired Methodist minister, calls these moments of learning or challenge or maybe even ugliness particularities, by which to say that they are moments in time in which we learn, moments that are not the full representation of ourselves. My bad hair days didn't determine who I was as a person. They were a momentary stop on my life's journey, pointing me toward another possibility. This idea of our not so great, sometimes ugly moments as particularity reminds me of one of the best sayings I heard in my pastoral care class in seminary. We are not the sum of our worst moments. We are not the sum of any one moment of our lives. Rather, we are the complex mosaic of all the moments, all the experiences, all the interactions of our lives. But here's the thing. That complex mosaic of our lives is not something we can see, live into, or become by ourselves. We are too immersed in the day-to-day, just surviving and breathing to see the bigger picture. Sometimes we even get stuck in those moments of particularity, which then become our dominant narrative. The things we live our lives by. In my case, I knew myself to be the girl with bad hair whose mother had died. When that happens, when we get stuck in that narrative, in that particularity, we stop becoming. We need each other. We need a community to become. I know this from my own experience. My childhood particularity defined me for many years because I didn't have a community to help me on my path of becoming. And then it all changed. Over the years, I was chosen or chose by friends who became family, by the Drew Theological School community, by Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, by some dear Unitarian Universalist ministers, by my partner and our children. This random assortment of people loved me into becoming who I am today. The person who stands before you as your candidate for settled ministry is because of the love of those people who pushed me into becoming. Through the years, they saw my particularities and they walked me through them. They helped me heal. They pushed me to be better. They held boundaries when in my particularity I was not my best. They still walk with me. And now, my mother's death and my bad hair have become an integrated part of my whole and not the particularity by which I define my life. I am a minister who, through my deep authenticity, will share with you my vulnerability of being human in this world. And in that vulnerability, we can create the ties of human community that hold us through the hardest particularities. And they let us bring our love into the world. There are things that community, specifically Unitarian Universalist community, provides us that we cannot provide ourselves on this fabulous journey to becoming. I call these the triadic way of becoming. Yes, I have many trinities in my life. I am a Unitarian and I have trinities. First, our Unitarian Universalist community sees our potential, our beauty in the midst of our particular moment. Our UU community knows that we are not the sum of one moment, and they see beyond that moment. They do this through holding us to our first principle, by honoring our inherent worth and dignity. Most of all, community does not let that particular moment define us. It does not let us get stuck there. It pushes us along on the path of becoming. Second, our UU church community holds the boundaries of love for us when in the midst of particularities. We are often not our best selves in the midst of growing pains, because we are in pain. Our UU community says to us, we are here, we hold you, and we want to make sure that you do not cause yourself and others pain because you are in pain. They do this by embodying our third principle, encouraging us to spiritual growth, and also through our covenants. Third, our UU community pushes us to grow even when we are not in a moment of particularity. It encourages us through our sixth principle to embark on a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. A UU community doesn't let us sit on our laurels and rest, as the saying goes, but always encourages us to become our full potential. As a Taoist might phrase it, we cannot make our lives significant by ourselves. We are named, loved, and nurtured by our community in the process of ever becoming. This triad of becoming is not just for individuals, however, it also applies to our church community. You see, our UU church community sometimes gets stuck in the particularity of growing pains, too. And we need each other to see our collective potential. Our UU church communities holds us in covenant so that we can have boundaries when we are not our best. And our UU church community grows when we challenge each other to embody our 7 principles in the hopes that we might become more Unitarian Universalist, more of a justice-filled love force. As I have had some growing pains in my life, I know you all have as well. Your ministerial transition, your exceptionally long search process, your staffing changes, and the pandemic are not the least of them. Yet you have held strong to each other, cultivating your community and living into these triadic principles. They've made you stronger in many areas, and you've identified challenges. You are aware of places you all need to grow. Your board has implemented governance policy as a way to better live into your mission. Steve, as your director of religious education, has put into place a fantastic whole church ministry that has thoughtfully integrated curriculum across the ages. At some point, your governance and your ministries will combine together to help you all live into DuPage UU's mission together. You have not let your growing pains define you. Rather, you've embraced them as an opportunity to become something more. This is one of the reasons I was interested in you as a congregation. I'm excited by congregations that are willing to change. I'm excited by congregations that integrate their particularities of their story into their story rather than make them the story. You, DuPage UU Church, have embraced your particularities, and you've made them your opportunity to grow. But here's the thing about becoming. We never become. We never reach a final state. There is no trophy, no finality of becoming. We are always becoming. When we think we've reached a moment of arrival, we know we're in trouble because we're either stuck in a particularity or we've just lost sight of our vision. And that's when we need to return to community, which holds us in love so we walk the path of becoming together. As I looked at the responses that you all had on your tree here, I saw what you have also been telling me in our meetings and our discussions. You want community. You want to be with each other in the good and in the particular. The song Crowded Table that Becky sang so beautifully earlier is one such vision of community. I want a crowded table. I want to be surrounded by love and people. That also gives me a moment in the garden when I need my introverted moment by myself. But I want a community that shows me the way home. A community that holds a place by the fire just for me. You shared with me all this week that you wanted a crowded table too. I want to sit at a crowded table with you. I want to be becoming with you. I want to have bad hair days with you. the frizz and the gray. I want you all to say to me, we love you through whatever particularity you are going through. We see your potential, Mandy. We see who you are becoming, and we want to help get you there. And I want to be with you on your bad hair days. I want to love you through your growing pains. I want to remind you when you lose sight of your potential, of the possibilities of your becoming. And I want to celebrate when we reach our goals and to create new ones together. Alone, we find ourselves isolated and unchanged, struggling through our lives. But together, we can walk the path of becoming, reveling in the beauty of who we are and who we might be, challenging ourselves and each other. I want to walk the path of beauty becoming with you. Amen.
I invite you to rise in body and spirit and sing with us hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the word of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who goes for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Soar thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward our plan and transformed by our care.
We extinguish our chalice, the symbol of our faith. We extinguish this flame, but not the flame in our hearts. We carry the flame of our hearts to remind us who we might become in the refining fire of our community. May its warmth stay with us as we leave this place.
Our benediction is from the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to become. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life we share. May we embrace the possibility of beauty becoming.
If you have not checked in and collected your ballot yet, now is the time to do that out in the link. Children, youth, we have some activities to do while this meeting is going on. We got some fun things to do in the backyard, and all of us will have fun in the backyard. We have a maypole out there.
Hello, all. The special business meeting will begin shortly. Please stay in the sanctuary, and if you are on the live stream, please join us at the Zoom link found on the church website under Candidating Week. We will begin in just a few moments. Thank you.